Yankees sweep the Baltimore Orioles and have won 6 in a row. They swept the homestand as they beat Cleveland and Baltimore. And dating back to the Detroit series, they've won 8 of their last 9. So when things looked really bleak, maybe bleak's a bit strong, but when things seemed like, they were going to be, a continuation from last year in a sense, and the Yankees had started out, with a pretty mediocre record to start things out. Now they're 13-6 and have the best record in the American League currently, and taking advantage of a schedule where these are games that they should be winning. And you can't take that for granted. And they're getting sweeps, which has been a complaint of mine. I've been complaining that, too many times when they had the chance to get it, they only win 2 out of 3. So this is great that now the Yankees aren't resting players quite as much. Yes, you are getting players sit here and there, but just as an example, the best players in the team I'm talking about more so. I'm not talking about the Gleyber Torreses. I'm talking about, the Aaron Judges. They are playing more frequently. And look, health seems to be fine. They're going to try to monitor that, but that's what you got to do. You cannot act as if, we're playing Baltimore, it's April, whatever. We're going to put out a lineup that, isn't top notch. So the bats really got going in the series. Really, to me, the 3 players that are the stories, mainly Anthony Rizzo. He's the main one, but also Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. So really the heart of that order was very strong in this series, where the pitching faltered a bit, definitely in Game 1. Game 1 especially. And that was about it, honestly. Game 2, Jordan Montgomery makes one mistake. Game 3, Tyone kind of had to navigate through. Wasn't great, but wasn't terrible. Then Marinaccio, who's going to be off this roster very shortly, messed up. So, the 5 runs allowed in the third game, a little misleading, but the first game was a crazy one in which the Yankees win at 12-8. And Baltimore, just give Baltimore credit, especially against the Yankees. They fight back, where it seemed like the Yankees were going to blow them out in the first game, and Baltimore just kept on, making it interesting to the point where the Yankees basically had to use high leverage relievers the whole way through. So in this one, Aaron Hicks out the series on paternity leave. I think he should be back for the Kansas City series. So that made things easier in terms of rest roulette, where the first couple of games, it was the main crew that was in there with, a.k.a. the Towers were out in the outfield. Gallo, Judge in center, Stanton and right. We saw that for the first 2 games. And DJ has found a home back at leadoff, and it's worked out well. And LeMahieu, the hitting streak did end in this series, but it did continue in the first night as he picked up a couple more hits. Again, DJ looking like he has, and being that table setter at the top, that's huge. And in the first game, Luis Severino was great for a while. It's too bad. That stat line, there's a few instances this year where the stat line is a little bit misleading, as Severino was perfect through 4, had a no-hitter through 5, and then things kind of fell apart in the 6th for him. But for the Yanks, it was getting it going in the 3rd inning. And these were pitchers who the Yankees struggled with. Jordan Lyles, Tyler Wells, and Bruce Zimmerman at Baltimore. The Yankees were not able to score a whole lot, but that absolutely changed in this series, as they were able to break through against each of them. Jordan Lyles definitely felt the brunt of that, as in the 3rd inning, Anthony Rizzo hits a 3-run homer. Just went out. I got to say, the Rizzo home runs, one of them was a definite homer. 2 of them were definitely Yankee Stadium home runs, but that's the thing. The Yankees have lacked that left-handed power. And Rizzo is just such a solid player. He's been very impressive in this first month or so of the season. He's just a very dependable player. And so Rizzo hits that 3-run homer to get the Yanks on top 3-0. And then in the 4th, it would be Joey Gallo with an impressive deep home run. This is a dead center, a little bit left of dead center, actually. And, Gallo showing that power, his first home run of the season. And he would homer again in the second game. So Gallo, who, look, I'm never really going to come around to Gallo, but at least if he can hit home runs, you can live with it somewhat. So Gallo makes it 4-0. And then the 5th, the Yankees score more as it would be a 2-run homer for Anthony Rizzo, making it 6-0. So, especially in the first two games, the home run ball was back. Yankees did hit one home run in the last game, but that one was a little bit different. We'll talk about that, and a lot of it to do with the Baltimore defense. But the Yankees in the first two games, the home runs were very, very much a thing. So with the Rizzo 2 home runs, it's 6-0 Yankees. In the sixth, though, Severino gives up a 3-run homer to Anthony Santander to make it 6-3. And I wasn't sure if Severino was going to finish the sixth. He did, and that worked out. But then he starts the seventh, which was surprising, and gives up a leadoff double to Rougned Odor. And so he's out of the game at that point. I thought Boone left him in a little too long. Clay Holmes comes in, does give up gives up that Severino run. So Severino ends up giving up 4 earned runs in 6 innings. But then Holmes is able to clean up the rest. And so it's 6-4 as we head to the bottom of the 7th, and the Yankees break it open, or so we thought at the time. Giancarlo Stanton gets an RBI single, and then a bases-clearing triple for Gleyber Torres. So a good job by Gleyber with a big hit at the time to make it from 7-4 to 10-4. But that lead, that big lead would not last. Lucas Licky comes out of the 8th, gives up a couple of hits, which leads to a run. Trey Mancini gets an RBI single, makes it 10-5. And then in a first and second 2-out situation, Jonathan Loáisiga comes in. And Loáisiga has not looked the same this season. Gives up a 3-run homer to Austin Hayes to make it 10-8. So where the Yankees originally had a 6-run lead, then they had then Orioles cut it to 2. Then they take another 6-run lead, and the Orioles cut it to 2 again. So the Orioles would not go away. But in the bottom of the 8th, it would be back-to-back 2-out home runs by Aaron Judge and Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo, his 3rd home run of the game, 6th RBI of the game. And this was I believe this was on the anniversary of when Alex Rodriguez hit 3 home runs against Bartolo Colon and the Angels back in 2005. So some interesting symmetry there. But Yankees make it 12-8, and Aroldis Chapman would come out in the 9th, and the control was not quite there. A couple of walks, but a couple of strikeouts as well, and Chapman's able to get out of there, and the Yankees win it 12-8. So a little ugly. The pitching, which has been excellent all year, wasn't there, but the offense was great, powered by Rizzo's 3 home runs. So game 2 would be a final score that looked a little bit more like the Yankees this season. And in this one, again, very similar lineup, some slight tweaks in terms of the fact that Gleyber went from DH to in the field. Donaldson was the DH in this one, and you go from Higashioka to Trevino. But Jordan Montgomery pitched pretty well. Unfortunately, doesn't get the win as he makes one mistake that ends up biting him. But in the first, it would be the 350th home run in the career of Giancarlo Stanton. So Stanton hits the ball the opposite way, and he makes it 2-0 Yanks right off the bat. And so 2 runs for Montgomery is sadly more than he's accustomed to, and it stayed 2-0 until the 6th, where with 2 outs, Anthony Santander homers again. It's a 2-run homer, and it ties it up at 2, and then Austin Hayes gets hit by a pitch, so Montgomery's taken out, and therefore he would not be in line for the win. Montgomery was upset that he was taken out. Look, I kind of understand it, especially because they brought in Michael King. Michael King gets out of the inning, and then in the bottom of the 6th, it would be Tyler Wells ends up pitching 5. So Tyler Wells pitched pretty well, gives up the homer to Stanton, but then he settled down. Bullpen for the Orioles doesn't quite get the job done. Leadoff walk to LeMahieu, a 1-out single for Rizzo makes it 1st and 3rd, and then Giancarlo Stanton with a sac fly. And so Stanton gives the Yanks a 3-2 lead with that. And then Michael King, 1-2-3 7th. In the 7th, a nice insurance run as Joey Gallo homers again, makes it 4-2. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa kind of makes things happen as he gets a single, moves to second on a ground out by Trevino, moves to third on a ground out by LeMahieu, and then scores on a wild pitch. So Kiner-Falefa using that speed, and the Yankees take a 5-2 lead. Then Michael King with a good 8th inning. So Michael King pitches 2 in the 3rd, scoreless ball. He's been just tremendous. And then in the 9th inning, Clay Holmes comes in, and Clay Holmes gets the save, pitches a 1-2-3 inning, gets 2 strikeouts. So right there for me, I think Michael King and Clay Holmes are probably my most trusted relievers in the pen right now. And so they come in, do a great job, and the Yankees win at 5-2. Stanton, definitely the star of this game, as he gets his 350th home run, gets the big sac fly as well to give the Yankees the lead. And so the Yankees take a 2-0 lead in the series. They win it at that point, and they go for the sweep in Game 3. Game 3, the start wasn't great, and also no Glaber. And that's just the way it is. Look, Gleyber Torres is the odd man out, and I understand it. I really do. So Glaber's out, which leads to Tim Locastro playing center field. As Stanton goes back to DH, Judge moves to right, more of your natural alignment. But also kind of Falefa gets a day off. He had played a lot lately. Marwin Gonzalez comes in, and I will say I thought Locastro, Marwin Gonzalez at the plate really helped in this win today. So Jameson Taillon, a little bit of a struggle for Taillon, but also, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. And also, I feel like the defense let him down at times. But Baltimore had 5 errors in this game. Yep, 5. But in the second, Locastro can't really track. The wind was a factor in this game. Locastro takes a bad route on a Ryan McKenna ground rule double. And with 2 outs, Kelvin Gutierrez gets an RBI single to give the Orioles a 1-0 lead. And then in the third, it would be a hit by pitch to Cedric Mullins, then a wild pitch by Taillon. He could have ruled it a pass ball on Higashioka, but they say wild pitch. And then with 1 out, another wild pitch by Taillon, and then a small RBI ground up by Mancini. So a run that really should not have scored. And you can blame Taillon for that as well, absolutely. But it's not like he was hit hard. And so the Orioles take a 2-0 lead. And then in the fifth, Taillon can't finish the fifth. And so Miguel Castro comes in. He gets into some trouble himself. It ends up being a bases-loaded situation, but he strikes out Ryan McKenna. We've seen Castro come up big in some pretty big situations to keep games close. He does it there. And the game and the momentum turned. Tim Locastro reaches on an error, and Locastro's speed makes things happen. If he can put the ball in play as he did here, it puts pressure on the defense, and so he reaches. Then Marwin Gonzalez gets an RBI double as a right-handed hitter against the lefty Bruce Zimmerman, and it makes it 2-1 Baltimore. Then, with 1 out, DJ LeMahieu reaches on an error. Jorge Mateo, the former Yankee prospect, had a rough day at short. He had 2 errors, and Gutierrez had 2 errors as well. So at that point, first and third, 1 out, and Aaron Judge gets an RBI single on a hard smash to Rougned Odor. It was ruled a base hit, and so it's 2-2, and then Anthony Rizzo just because it's what he does, just dunks a hit opposite field, scores LeMahieu, and it makes it 3-2. Zimmerman's out, and then Stanton gets an RBI single to make it 4-2. So the Yankees, with a really good inning, factored in with some bad defense by Baltimore, but just keeping the line moving. A 4-run inning that did not involve a home run. So that was very good to see. Wandy Peralta comes in for Miguel Castro in the 6th. And the inning should have ended. It was a runner on first 2-out situation, but for some reason, DJ LeMahieu on a ground ball by Anthony Santander should have absolutely just thrown to first, but he tries to throw it to Marwin Gonzalez, who is not near second. And so it's ruled a fielder's choice and everyone's safe. Loaisiga comes in, and remember, Loaisiga messed up in Game 1 and it struggled. He gets Trey Mancini to strike out. So this was a major improvement game for Loaisiga, and that's good to see. In the 6th, the Yankees add on. Leadoff walk by Gallo. Locastro gets an infield single. And so Gallo, there had been a wild pitch when Locastro was up. And after this Locastro single, Gallo moves to third on a bad throw. Again, just messy work by Baltimore. So it's first and third, and a really great at-bat by Marwin Gonzalez. This was a 11-pitch at-bat, which leads to a sac fly. So really nice game from Locastro and Marwin. And so the Yankees take a 5-2 lead. Loaisiga pitches the 7th, gets a couple more strikeouts, and looks more like himself. Then LeMahieu leadoff double. Judge hits a flies out, LeMahieu to third. Rizzo lines out to right, was not deep enough to get LeMahieu in. You get a walk to Stanton, and then an RBI single by Josh Donaldson off the glove of Mateo. I think it deflected off of him. And so that makes it 6-2. And then in the 8th, Chad Green. And this is the type of situation you want Chad Green. A 4-run lead, pitches really well. And then the Yankees really pour it on in the bottom of the 8th. Leadoff walk to Locastro. He steals second with 1 out. Kyle Higashioka is hit by a pitch. LeMahieu reaches on an error. And then Locastro scores when Aaron Judge is up on a wild pitch. So it's 7-2, and Aaron Judge puts the icing on the cake with a 3-run home run to make it 10-2 Yanks. In the ninth, Ron Marinaccio comes in, and unfortunately, Marinaccio, who will be sent down very soon, very, very soon, unfortunately does not pitch well. He gives up 3 runs, and Lucas Licky has to come on and finish it up. And even Aroldis Chapman had to warm up. And this was a 10-2 game going to the ninth, so that was not great. But Licky is able to finish it off. He did walk Urias, but then he gets Gutierrez to fly out. Yankees win it 10-5, and they get the sweep. And now they head to Kansas City. And this is a series, this is, going to be a game in which you're facing a team that, again, they've been scrapping. I have to say, Kansas City, who, if they win today against the White Sox, which it looks like they might, if that does happen, their record will be 7-10, which is not great. But, on the road against Kansas City, sign me up for 2 out of 3. I was greedy when it came to this Baltimore series after we had lost at Baltimore. I wanted the sweep. And I honestly, if we had won 2 out of 3, I would not have been thrilled. With the Kansas City series, give me 2 out of 3. It's going to be Cortez, Cole, and Severino. So I think that if you can do that, that'll be great going into what will be a very important Toronto Blue Jays series on the road. And Toronto, they've had a tougher schedule than the Yankees. And they will play the Houston Astros again this weekend. So hopefully the Yankees the Yankees have a small lead in Toronto right now. Hopefully they can gain a little bit more ground. Maybe, if they can be up maybe 2 on the loss side somehow going into that Blue Jays series, it softens the blow if, let's say, you lose that series 2 out of 3. Just saying. So Yankees 13-6, if they can, let's say, be 15-7 going into that Toronto series, that's a pretty good place to be. So the Yankees sweep the homestand. The offense is getting going. A lot of good signs. And hopefully the Yankees can keep this up as they head to Kansas City.